joining us at this point, so he's
Okay.
fixed. So we'll just move
You
forward.
okay?
I'm good.
Who's
Yeah,
sounded like you were talking about somebody getting stitches?
yeah. You know who it is. She had a little work done, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. So that's fine. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So let me get us lined up. Now, Chuck, I think you missed the email, or you missed it.
That's adorable.
Look at him. Oh. Did you see Brad's email about next week going early?
Let's see. I think I did. Let's see. No, that's not.
Well, the meeting I've got that day runs from 2:30 to 4:30.
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna
yeah,
look at the calendar on my phone here. So
yeah,
hang
do
on.
that and see, because we could always on Wednesday of next week, which is the 16th.
and I can do
when do you
morning,
wanna do it?
evening.
Do you want to do it at 1 o'clock? Would that work? Would that work for everybody if we did it at 1?
Works for me.
Yeah, works for me too.
All right, so we'll do it at 1 o'clock that day. That way
Great.
we will
Thank you.
knock it out early. Good. No, that works. Okay. All right. We're rolling.
Hang on. Let me make sure I've got that on there. There
Back
we go.
in there. All right. Let me get my timer out. We got a lot of different stuff, some questions coming in, and then we've also got what's going on with my phone? And then we've got that's weird. Some interesting topics. So we'll see where we go with this timer. All right, everybody ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. News Radio 840 WHS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show with you here till the top of the hour. Hope it's a good Sunday morning already with us with some great questions, answers, and information for you. Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. Good to have you on board, Chuck.
Good to see you.
Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Services. They're the #1 home team inspection service in the country. They hire vets. They come in as a team. They do a great job, and I use them. Chuck uses them, and you want to use them as well. You can reach Brad and his team with their new number. Make note, 844-411-TEAM. 844-411-TEAM. Brad, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, folks. How's everybody?
Good. We're doing good. And we
Awesome.
mentioned good to see you because we're recording this on Zoom during our COVID shows because each of us are coming from our individual studios or homes or offices. So if you want to see a replay of this actual show as we're recording it, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. And coming up a little later on in today's show, 6 killer mistakes you can't afford to make when you buy a home in the winter. That's coming up in a little bit. First off, the holiday season is here, and certainly a lot of people are thinking, well, I want to decorate my home, yet I want to put it on the market and sell. Now, I don't think Brad or Chuck want to. And by the way,
thought about that.
You never thought about that, right?
No.
By the way, Greg is out already shooting this morning. He may be able to join us. Listings. We're getting another surge of listings coming in, which is good for all buyers, and also an indication if you're thinking about selling, now is the time, and you still can decorate your home for whatever holiday you celebrate. But things that you should do. Here are a couple of things to think about if you're going to put your home on the market, say this month or even next month. Don't go wild on the exterior is item number 1. If you're used to over-the-top decorations on the outside of the home, this may be a good year to just scale back. Large inflatables can kill the grass wherever they're placed if they're out there for a period of time. Extensive exterior lighting setup may make buyers wonder about potential damage to the home's trim, which is a possibility, especially do you either Brad or you, Chuck, put in, oh, here comes Greg, I think. Do either of you two put in nails to hold up lights or anything like that? So you know better. Okay,
No.
good. So that's a good thing. So this may be the time to get some tasteful wreaths, garlands, bows for a festive look, but don't go crazy. And we welcome my son Greg, who is joining us, does our marketing and photography and so much more. I explained you were out already shooting this morning. Good to see you back home already. You doing okay? I can't hear you, but I see you shaking your head. Item number 2, don't over decorate the interior. That's while many homes look amazing during the holidays, wall-to-wall Christmas display or Hanukkah display or Kwanzaa, inside a home can look cluttered and messy to potential buyers. And if, for example, Greg is shooting your house with photography, it dates the photos for being shot during the holiday. Correct, Greg? Yep, he's can't hear you, but I know you're shaking your head.
Still saying yeah.
Yep, he's still saying, wait, Nick, I don't know what's wrong with this audio. But anyway, so don't over decorate. Also, remember what you're selling. In the same vein, it's important to ensure that your decorations are not covering up the home's best feature. If you've got a fireplace with too many candles, garland, baubles, bows, it no longer is a selling point. So don't cover that stuff up. Also, consider an extra set of listing photos. So if you're anticipating going longer, if your house is on the market, you may want to set up with your agent to have a reshoot of specific rooms that have been decorated. And we can always do that. I know Greg more than happy to go out there. And can we hear you yet, Greg? I don't know if you saw
for a nominal fee. We fixed it up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we talk about money. Yeah, but we'll go out for no.
Nominal fee. Yeah, no, just kidding. Also, encourage clients, you folks and buyers, to enjoy the holidays. Above all, you want to make sure you enjoy the holidays, but don't let the decorating stop you from putting the homes on the market. Because right now, we, like many others, are at a point where we are desperately looking for listings. Normally, we're seeing maybe 2,500, 3,000 homes on the market. We're at 1,800 this past week. So those are some of the things that we are working on. All right, so let's talk some other items here that we've got, and let's go to Chuck first. And actually, this also may involve Brad. On a legal, this email is coming in, and we're inviting people to, because we're doing these COVID shows, we don't have the ability to roll in questions that are coming in. So we're asking folks to send us an email with a question. And you can send it with bob@wesellouisville.com and just say radio question in the subject line. So Billy says, I just became aware of an old storage tank in the backyard that appears to be full of chemicals. And he remembered something at the closing when he bought his house several months ago, that if a bank hears about something like chemicals being used in the house or storage outside, they could revoke a mortgage. And Billy wants to know how he should proceed. Chuck, any suggestions or advice on that? We'll start with that, then we'll go to Brad.
First off, you need to figure out what it is specifically. Is whether it's out in the country or in a city can make a big difference. Was the property once a gas station? It could be anything from, just a buried, cistern or old septic system to buried gas tanks, which are a big problem. There are environmental surveys you can do. Phase 1s are pretty expensive. Phase 2 is really expensive, and it just goes up from there. But that would be an issue that you might want to actually speak to an attorney before you do anything about. The mortgage that you probably heard about in the closing indicates that you can't place any hazardous waste on the property, but I've never seen it come back to where they call a loan because you find prior instances. But that would be based on all kinds of different formula that the bank would use. But the first thing is to find out what it is that you've got and whether or not it actually is a problem. But that can be a tricky bit. So you might want to give an attorney a call.
Yeah, and we'll give out Chuck's phone number in a little bit. You may want to reach out to him. It can be the worst nightmare for a buyer of a home. And folks, it may be you, may be friends, family. It may be down the road when you buy a home, whether it is new construction or resale. You're walking the property after you closed, and now lo and behold, you come across something that you didn't see before. This happened to me about 3.5 years ago when I bought my current home. I'm walking along and I see little green circles in the ground. Now, I knew what they were, so I wasn't so concerned, but someone who doesn't know might get scared. The circles were termite bait traps that had been used at a previous time. Brad, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
See them all the
thought
time.
we were going to crop circles there. For
Yeah.
a
No,
minute,
no.
Bob.
No, termite circles.
Live long and prosper.
They're the termite buffets.
So, as opposed to the chips on the radiator, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the buffet's right. So I knew that, but so Brad, which brings me to you as an inspector. When you're inspecting a property, it's really not the scope of any inspector, whether it's home team or anybody else, to walk the property and look for potential problems, right?
Right, that's correct. Actually, as Chuck mentioned, that would fall under the jurisdiction of an environmental engineer in a phase one study. So for a home inspector or a real estate inspector, if it's a commercial property, we're looking at the building itself. Now, if it's a commercial property and there's a parking lot involved, we're looking at the parking lot as well. If there are any clues, of odd humps or, places where an underground tank might have been, we'll note it, but we can't investigate any further than that. In the case
you
of
will note it if you see something that looks like that.
in a commercial space, yes. In a home, again, if we see, say, a manhole cover, a smaller manhole cover that might be an old oil tank that's stored underground, we'll make note of those. Or maybe a cistern. It could be an oil tank, like you say, Chuck. So any of the fuel tanks, we'll just note if there's any evidence of it that we see. But if it's a larger property, and that happens a lot, people have workshops on them. They may have buried things out there. A home inspector is not going to visually survey the property itself for those type of items, and we don't poke any metal probes into the ground looking for corners of them like they would with like looking for the edges of a septic tank.
Yeah.
So back to
but one point to make, Bob, in commercial and in residential sales disclosure in the commercial contracts, it's incumbent on a seller to mention any kind of environmental concern, because that jumps up and over normal problems. Anybody that's in the chain of title on a property that has an environmental concern is liable, even if you don't know about it.
So, and that's where I was going. What if the seller had no knowledge of a tank or something being buried and it was just recently discovered?
If the Superfund folks show up, then everybody in the chain is going to have an issue.
So we need to know. Greg, when you bought your new house, I know they dug a basement, so obviously if there was going to be something there, you would have seen it. But
so we saw the plenty of rock that they had underneath. But yeah, my question is more like sinkholes and things of that nature, I guess, would fall into this category. We see a lot out in Oldham County and the rural parts where the seller may see a sinkhole, and then you've got to get different. They may just be throwing stuff in there or backfilling it with dirt or trying to cover it up. And then we go back to our Chuck's favorite statement of known or should have known. And then how do you prove it?
But if you're dumping stuff in a sinkhole, that's not too difficult to figure out. Things will have dates on them. If you're dumping garbage back there, there's going to be an envelope. There's going to be something.
But a sinkhole, Greg brings up a good point. A sinkhole that occurs on your property first time you knew nothing about it, that's not necessarily something that you can attest to having knowledge.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point, to where he's talking about you're dumping stuff back there. I've seen lawsuits over that.
Sure.
Where, you've just been dumping all your garbage. And let's just say I know of one gentleman, use the phrase loosely, who would basically dump anything in the sinkhole that he had on the property and didn't mention it to the buyer.
Oh, that's a problem. I suspect. Yeah.
It was a big problem.
Well, all right. We've got a lot of stuff on the table here, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, let me give you kind of a rundown of what we're going to hit or try to hit. 6 killer mistakes you can't afford to make when buying in the winter. Also, what buyer demand being up and inventory down. A lot of people are actually working on their bathrooms to renovate because they're staying. We'll talk about some of the trends. And then a problem that happened to me, I don't want to happen to you as our listeners. So we'll test the knowledge of Brad, Chuck, and Greg to see if by chance they can help solve for all of us this particular problem. It has to do also in the bathroom. We'll talk about that when we come back. We're going to take a break. With us again, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. You can reach them at 844-411-TEAM, which also translates into 8326. Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices, they do a great job. Closings, wills, and a variety of other things. And as Chuck says, if he can't do it or doesn't know how to do it, he will find somebody who does.
That's not what I say.
Well, what do you say?
If I don't do it, I know who does.
Oh, okay. Then
there's no attorney that'll admit to not being able.
Okay, I understand. You can reach him at 499-6360. My son Greg, who does all of our marketing, photography, and so much more, is with us. And also, if you want to see what people are saying about us, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, or you can read about it, LouisvilleZillow.com. And you can reach me, Bob Sokoler, anytime, day or night, at 502-376-5483. We are back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show here till the top of the hour. My son Greg along is with us. Marketing, photography, so much more that he does a great job. Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices, 499-6360, also here with us. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service at 844-411-TEAM. And we thank Barbara Corcoran, who's one of my mentors and endorses us and does such a great job on Shark Tank. You can reach me anytime to come out and talk about getting your home sold quickly, 376-5483. That's 376-5483. Okay, so you're a homeowner. These are some mistakes you cannot afford to make when you are buying in the winter, because these are problems. And gentlemen, don't hesitate to jump in. Landing yourself in holiday debt. You've spent money. You now are getting into the house, and all of a sudden you find that your budget is gone. So be careful of what you're spending on holiday gifts. You fail to use your imagination. Yes, property looks a bit drab, but don't all homes seem in the winter? So some of them may be covered. Brad, a home inspection, roof, snow, ice, coverage, that could be a problem in itself, correct?
Well, just remember the roof has two sides. So you're going to see the underside of the roof, even if you have snow on it. I mean, you think about all our friends up north that don't see their roofs for 4 or 5 months out of the year. So yeah, the home inspector will be going into the attic and performing a roof inspection there, even if they can't see the shingles. Now, the shingles are going to be a different story, and that'll only be visible once they're uncovered, unburied with the snow cover, though.
So remember, there could be a point where you don't get all the information, but the home inspection team will let you know, no matter who you use. Don't think about possible delays in closing. And Chuck, you can point to this. How often are you told it could be a COVID issue this year, but it could be funding, it could be a variety of other documentation. How often do you get something coming from a buyer or lender or seller that says, we're on hold for a day or more because of this problem?
Fairly regularly.
So this is nothing to think that this doesn't happen. We've got a guy,
think about it. If you've got back-to-backs and the first one doesn't go for whatever reason, well, the second one's not going to go. Yeah. There's always that kind of thing.
We've seen issues where there'd be bad weather in the Northeast and maybe funding's coming from up there, and
absolutely
the power goes out at the office and they can't transfer. The holiday weekends,
hurricanes, all that kind of I had some sellers stuck down in Dallas once or Houston when it was underwater. So that kind of thing happens.
Now, remember, be flexible during closings, during house hunting. House hunting always requires a certain level of spontaneity. You have to be ready to pounce as soon as you hear that a place that fits your criteria comes on the market. So being flexible is even more critical during the winter season, especially if you're up against holidays.
Well, having a flexible agent and an agent with a flexible spouse, because I can't tell you how many times my wife is jumping out at 7:00 at night because the home just came on the market or came back on the market for some reason. If you don't have that flexibility in your schedule, chances are you're going to lose out on some homes this season.
Finally, don't assume that because it's the winter, you're going to score a sweet deal. Even in the winter, home prices are lower, sellers are motivated, but the competition is still bundled up, ready to pounce, as Greg just told you. So
yeah, this data is probably coming from basing off of last year's sales and everything, where this year we know COVID is really changing, that we don't see any homes that are lower in price value because of the season. It's still hot.
Actually, that information is fairly new. So yeah, it does include.
Well, no, I'm not debating that the information's new. I'm saying their statistical matrices are probably based off of values from last year.
From last year. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So I mentioned before the break of a problem that happened to me, and I don't want this happening to everybody else. Drain in my bathroom. It's slow to drain and gets slower and slower and ends up taking, an hour to drain if you put water in it. And so I went out and I went to the big box stores, and Brad and Chuck, Greg, tell me if you've seen this stuff. Now, there's different name brands, but this one says guaranteed to clean your drain or your money back. Have you seen that? So I said, okay, well, it's $10. I'll try it. Pour it down there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Where's my $10?
I haven't gone back for it yet, but, because that's the come on. So it made me think. So, and just to tell you what I did, so there's a couple of things you can buy. There's this thing that looks like, Brad, help us out here. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like toothpicks attached perpendicular, and you shove it in, and it's supposed to clear the drain.
Goes down about 18 inches.
Mm-hmm. It does what?
That's my go-to.
Oh, your go-to. I thought you'd say for your goatee. So, comb your goatee. Yeah. No. So that's your go-to. So I bought a bunch, but I can't find them. So I don't know where they are. So that was a loss.
I don't live with you anymore, so I didn't take them and hide them or anything like I used to.
So then I did some research. There's a variety of drain cleaners for hair clogs. But, Brad, I got to ask you, how much damage, if it's PVC or whatever pipe is being used, how much damage can you do to one of those drains by using some of these commercial cleaners?
Well, commercial cleaner, or are you talking about
over the counter?
Consumer, the consumer products are not going to damage anything. I don't know of anything that gets hot enough to damage PVC. I don't know anything that's corrosive enough. They're all really, really gentle. I mean, I've seen more people do damage by trying to jab screwdrivers, into traps than I have chemicals that tear things up.
So there are liquids, gels, powders, granular stuff, pods. Any of those better than the other?
I'm not sure, but what I will tell you is if one didn't work, don't put another one in right behind it, because I don't know what chemistry work you're about ready to do in that pipe.
All of a sudden it explodes.
Yeah, that could be a different discussion. But
drain snakes?
Yep.
Okay.
That's how people typically, clean those out, is with a snake. I mean, that's what that's what your plumber's going to use when he comes out to to
3 daughters with long hair and 2 boys with long hair. Mm-hmm. So I've used that snake repeatedly.
Well,
it always works.
I got a drain snake, and then I tried to put it down, but the gap between where the plunger goes down and into the drain wasn't big enough. No.
Well, you go in. Do you have the overflow?
No. Oh, going from the back and going that way.
Going through the overflow.
That's an idea. I didn't do
that. Yeah, go in there rather than trying to take your trap apart. Yeah.
So mine didn't work, and the overflow little thing is too small to get the thing down anyway. So that wouldn't be a thing to work. So I said, okay, I'm gonna have to undo the drain from underneath, right where the this is PVC and it's screwed together. So I unscrew it, and nothing's there. And I unscrew the drain a little bit from the sink, the bottom of it, and nothing's coming apart, and I can't get it apart. So I take a wrench, and the top that sits down into the
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, you should probably call a plumber in your escapades. But
yes, you should. But I said, okay, I'm going to try one more thing. So I put a wrench on this thing and turn it, and the thing turns off, comes right off properly. And there's all the gook and all the stuff. And I was able to clean it. But meanwhile, so this is why I'm telling you not to do this. Don't ever put a wrench to the bottom of your drain under your sink, because I tried putting everything back and it's leaking. It's leaking now from the bottom. Yes. So that stuff.
Yeah, but there's also a variety of tapes and epoxies that they put in there.
Yeah, I get that. But I got to tell you, so here's what ended up happening. So I I'm trying to make it. I'm going to have to call a plumber eventually, but I'm going to replace the whole thing anyway down the road. So for temporary measure, the stuff where they've got the seal where they do the commercials, they put
Oh
it on
no.
floats.
Oh gosh.
Flex Seal.
That guy. The new Ron Popeil.
Oh, no.
The Ron Popeil for the 21st century.
So I got some Flex Seal on there right now. I don't think it's working very well, but ultimately,
I mean, that's one of those money back guarantees too, though. So you are due like $20 back that maybe you could pay for your plumber to come and fix it the right way.
So
I just want to know, what is the lesson for our listeners here?
Call the plumber.
It's very obvious. Call the plumber, but try the simplest thing first. I did it last, which was try turning the top on your phone. Yeah. All right. So there you go.
I'll show you how to use channel locks to take one of those out using the handles of it. Put it in backwards and
that's what I basically did. But
that's how you do it.
It was late. I did it on the end, so I created it. All right. So a lot of people choosing to stay home, maybe putting their homes on the market in 2021 or beyond. So with buyer demand up, inventory down. So what are people doing with the money that they would have spent on vacations, right? So one of the key things that people are doing is they're spending money on improving their bathroom. Now, I know, Chuck, you're in a pretty new place. Any thoughts about improving your bathroom in the future, near future?
No, we already did. I mean,
you did?
There's always things you can do, but.
So you got Sherry and you decide, okay, you got the deck done, and now you got the bathroom.
Oh, we did the bathroom a long time ago.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what people are moving towards. This is some of the stuff. So one of the key things in terms of improving your house and what people are looking for, office space. So, and Greg can tell you, because in his new house, he's got some office space. So if you're considering doing some improvements, see if you can carve out some office space, maybe in a closet that you're not using, and you can create a closet area in that. Also, a speedy internet. If you are looking for a new house, I know Greg's thrilled in Norton Commons. What's your speed and your internet?
Well, it's fiber. It's a lot of people have wireless internet and older routers, and that's fine. But when you have everyone home and everyone's streaming off the same service, I'm a hard proponent of hardwire, Cat 6 cable, and redundancy. And I don't know, but what's going on with wireless signals, but fast internet's nice.
Fast internet, gym equipment, places for mats. Those are home gyms, and those are things that I would tell you that people are moving towards or looking for or creating in their home space. Additionally, outdoor kitchens. I know some friends who have put in outdoor kitchens in recent years. Also, gardens. People are putting money into creating home gardens to be able to grow their own food. Pools, we've talked about in the past, they are backed up, some of the pool companies, for a couple of years in terms of doing that. So remember, pools and patios. And if you're looking for more square footage, then the thing to do is possibly move. One of the things that most people are thinking about is your bathroom. So what do you do in the bathroom? You can replace the shower with a tub and a shower, put new countertops, and that's what I'm looking to do, a new cabinetry and countertops, new mirrors, dual mirrors, single mirrors. The bottom line is, if you're thinking about improving your home, two things sell a home faster than anything else: the kitchen, updated, renovated, and the same with a master bathroom that could be seen as a retreat. So just keep in mind, if you're thinking about down the road staying instead of moving, adding spaces, things that you can do to potentially make it a beautiful place for you guys to live. Charlene wrote in and said, just purchased a home on the east end of Louisville, finished moving in 2 weeks ago. Neighbors came over to introduce themselves, and that's when they asked me if I knew the house had been featured on TV about paranormal activity. So any recourse on having paranormal, I see Chuck waving his head no. There's nothing that says in the disclosure that you have to reveal that, correct? Yeah.
Wait, we always go to stigmatized property, right?
Yeah. What's stigmatized, but the only court that's ruled in favor of a buyer that I know of, related to ghost-like occurrences, was up in New York, and they came up with not so much really ghosts as the property had a bad reputation, and it was hidden from them. It wasn't you know,
Okay.
not that it wasn't disclosed, but they overtly caused them not to know, which was BS. They're
Charlene, you're out of luck.
yeah.
Or get a Ghostbuster and help you.
Try and get and there's a lot of people that take that seriously.
I agree.
Seen
Yeah,
some houses, there's certain people that'll go through and smudges and
Yeah, there are a surprising number of apps that are even available for your cell phone to check for that type of activity. So I don't know about any of them, but it's amazing how many there are.
On that note, we are out of time, folks. My thanks to Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. That's the number to call. He does not do paranormal activity. Brad Lawler.
Actually.
You do?
I do. I took the class at U of L, Ghost Hunting 101.
Well, then I stand corrected. And so do we all. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM. Thanks, Brad. My son, Greg, and he does our marketing and photography and so much more.
Yep, UFOs are real, baby.
You can reach me anytime on my cell phone. I will not be arriving in a UFO. You can reach me at 376-5483. Again, we're out of time. We'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS. Ooh. All right.
He's not arriving in a UFO, but the next closest thing to one.
Did you guys see what the Israeli former Space Force guy said?
No.
What?
This all happened like 3 days ago. So he came out and was like, this is one of their top officials. Like, UFOs are real. The population is not ready to be aware of them yet, and they're living on Earth with us. Is basically what this guy said. And this is one of the top Israeli officials that came out. I don't know what the hell's going on.
They're living with us?
They say he's like, they're here. They have
isn't that part of a Q thing where we've got lizard people or something like that?
Maybe. But this is a top Israeli official that they're like running big stuff on. And if you follow what's been going on with the Pentagon leaked tapes and all that fun stuff, I mean, listen, billions of galaxies. We're not the only life forms here, guys. It's not.
Chuck, you never answered my question. Are you watching Discovery at all?
No, I am not. I really got.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
But this third season is spectacular.
That's what you're saying, and I do have plans to look at it. It's just right now we've been going through Sopranos. So now I'm swearing like a sailor, or a mobster, I should say.
It's such I just rewatched Sopranos. It's so good.
I know. How do you not?
It's so good.
Yeah.
Paulie is one of the best gangster. Like Tony. The whole storyline's great, but if you look at like pound for pound, you put him up against Pesci and all. Paulie is like the best gangster. I don't know. I read an article about him.
I know so many people that are just like him. But my favorite quote from the whole show is when Soprano's daughter says, "Why are all your friends fat men with see-through socks?"
Gotta love Meadow.
I just noticed my power is almost out on this computer. So I thought
We'll see you later.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye. See y'all.
All right. Bye.